Welcome to another episode of UnStuck the Podcast, featuring myself, Marcel Hatley, and my main man, Mr. Martin Bowman.
Welcome.
Number 37 today, Martin. 37 episode.
You brought up a point about our audience, about people that are listening to us and they're not familiar with, let's say, the Bible.
Right.
Where would you suggest that they?
I suggested the book of John.
Yeah. Good.
I suggested the book of John.
Why? What made you?
Well, it's so much going on in there that you can relate to on a lower platform. It's not the thous and thous and
well, you know
what I mean?
You can get a translation,
right, that relates more to everyday life. But it's the Bible, but it's stuff that happened back then, but you can relate to it in the language.
Yeah. Okay, the Bible has a lot of different translations.
King versions, NIV.
Yeah, King James.
Standard.
Well, it's like I kind of grew up with King James, and then my church uses NIV, which is New International Version.
Right.
And then there's the Message Bible, which I like. I like that a lot.
Okay.
But then there's the New Living. So I guess what I'm saying, and I'm listening to you, like versions like the Message Bible or the New Living Bible.
Right.
New Living, it's NLT, New Living Translation.
Okay.
Those are great Bibles to start
For
out.
beginners?
Yeah, because they don't use, as you said, they don't use a lot of these and thous.
Yeah,
the
language
King
is
James
different.
is King James language.
Right.
NIV is more modern.
Right.
And even New Living is
Makes it easier to understand.
Understand.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, some people, they don't like it because, they grew up with something.
Bougie.
Yeah. Actually, yeah. But as long as you read it about, and I think, think about this. Book of John, right? New Testament for y'all. John is what I'll call a snippet of Jesus's life.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
There's no birth narrative. You don't see, Matthew, Luke, and Matthew, Mark, and Luke have Matthew, Mark, and Luke.
Okay.
Have the birth of Jesus.
The timeline.
The timeline.
Yes.
Exactly. John starts. He's already
off to the races.
Yeah, he's already, and it's a snippet.
Yeah.
It's not a window. Put it that way. And it's a little different. The Matthew, Mark, Matthew, Mark, and Luke are they're what they call a synoptic because they're a lot alike, a lot of similarities. Although Luke has some stuff that nobody else has.
Gotcha.
But John is good. What I did, think about this. When I entered discipleship, now I grew up in the Bible, but I thought I knew it, but I didn't really pay much attention. I started by reading Genesis, and I just read the first 3 or 4 chapters.
Okay.
And then I read the whole book eventually.
Right.
I was just fascinated. I learned a lot about foundations, like who Abraham was and the creation. The first 3 chapters of Genesis, I must have read that 50 times because I saw so much of what God had in mind, about the Spirit, about Trinity, already there was elements of the Trinity right there. And, Abraham, and there were all these gods. And Abraham said, no, there's one God, but he has many manifestations.
Yes.
Right? And all
like
that.
you, it's only one Martin, but you're a grandfather, you're a father, a husband.
And those people interact, with each other. Yeah, right? Yeah. So I like the story. There's a lot of stories in Genesis. A lot of crazy stuff. People jacking up each other and chasing women and getting drunk and all of that. Even the heroes. Abraham does a lot of crazy stuff.
Yes.
Isaac, Jacob. Jacob is a snake.
Yeah.
I like, it's like, I don't know why, but I like all that stuff. I know. Hey, So I think those are great. And the reason I say that, because people read the Bible and say, they think they're reading, you should do this, don't do that.
Right.
Read the story.
Yeah.
I keep going back. Get into the story.
Because nobody was perfect.
No, and then you learn through story.
Yeah.
Not by people telling you.
It's a lot of Me Too's in there.
What you mean?
You could read it and be like, oh man, me too. I did that.
Exactly.
The Me Too moment.
That's what and you read and you do that with the story.
Yes.
Not with the people could say the Bible says do ABC.
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of nuance. You know what I'm saying? Is the Bible is one thing about the Bible says, it's another thing about what the Bible means. Sometimes it's not the same. You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like we translate it into our own.
Yes.
The Bible says I should tell my wife to. No, come on, man. That ain't what the Bible means.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
That means that you have responsibility over, for your wife, over your wife.
Right.
But you come home and start, Jack, you be on the sofa quick. Right? So you need to read the story to really, I think. Gotcha. And I think John is a great, but let's tell people.
Yeah.
There's the New Testament, right? Which is 27 books. And then there's the Old Testament. Like Pastor Pete talks about this all the time. Dr. Ammerman, he's kind of our mentor. The Old Testament is Christ being foretold. Yes. Everything leads to Christ.
Yes.
The New Testament is Christ and looking back, what he did and all that. I guess I'll say reinterpretation, not reinterpretation, but the new covenant, put it that way. So it's yeah. And I can't, if you're new to us or new to the Bible or new to what we do, people say, go to church. You should get in some sort of group, even if it's a Bible study. Like what we're going to do today, later on, is do a Bible study.
Right.
And that's important, right?
Definitely. It's foundation.
Yeah, because I keep saying, it's one thing, what the Bible says. What does it mean? Yeah. So that you can use it. And what did the story say?
Yes.
So we're going to sign off now and then come back later on and do a little Bible study. So, ciao, guys.
Thank you.